Hey everybody. I just want to testify to God's goodness in these scary times where everyone's wearing a mask and there's this plague going around. I just want to share some stories of what happened to me this month, just to show people that God's still good. He still heals, and He still protects us. And He's still there if you seek Him and you love Him and you serve Him. So recently I met a woman online who had ringing in her ears, and I offered to pray for her to make it go away, and I got her on the phone, and she was in Michigan. Now, I've seen God heal people over the phone to LA and the UK, so I'm confident that God still heals in Michigan. God's everywhere, so that's not a problem. So I'm on the phone with this woman. She's a middle-aged woman who had something called tinnitus, which is ringing in the ears, since childhood. And she said she couldn't even pray because it's so loud when she gets quiet, and when the room's quiet, it's so loud, especially at night. So I prayed for her ears. I prayed that God just would restore it, make it totally normal and healed. And I actually had to pray twice to make it go away completely, but at the end of the second prayer, she had no ringing in her ears for the first time in years. And I followed up with this woman over time because she said, well, tonight will be the real test because at night it's the worst, probably because it's quiet at night, and that just kind of happens that way at night. But I followed up with her over time, and she hasn't had any ringing in her ears since. Earlier this month, I saw a patient in the hospital who had chest pain. She was going to have a cardiac catheter the next day, which is a surgical procedure to diagnose kind of the reason why she's having these chest pains, and this was believed to be a cardiac, a heart issue with her. So she was having chest pain the whole day, actively having chest pain while I was with her. And so I offered to pray for her, and we prayed. And I said, well, just lean back and see how your chest feels. So she sits back in the bed, and she just starts to look up, and she just tears up. And she raises her hands and starts praising God because the pain just disappeared. And I'd say one of the most notable ones for the month was my little 2-year-old Elias had poured a hot pot of coffee on himself. It was up on the counter, and it was freshly brewed. It was on the coffee station, just finished brewing, and it, still had the little heater thing going. And he pours it on himself, and I run over. I hear him screaming. There's coffee on the floor, and he is just crawling away from it and screaming in pain. So me and my wife, we're both nurses, so we know we run him under cold water. So we put him under the sink under cold water, let that go for a minute, and then I take him upstairs and change his clothes, and he's screaming the whole time. And as I'm changing his clothes, I see there's red marks on his whole left side, on his leg, on his hand, and I'm thinking, man, these are pretty bad burns. Like, this is going to take weeks to recover, a week or two maybe to go away. And then I'm thinking to myself, I'm just going to pray for him. So I got his clothes on. I just lay my hands on him. I pray for him for 30 seconds, and he stops crying. And then I just peek under his clothes, and all the redness is gone. All the burns are gone. His skin is perfect. He's just totally normal. So God's good. He still heals. He still protects us. He's still with us. If you seek Him in truth, if you seek Him in His Word, if you seek Him in your lifestyle and live as He wants you to and learn what it is to live for Him, He's still good. He still changes lives. He still brings joy. He still does all that stuff. He's a good God, even in these crazy, mad times with the plague and the government shut down and people thinking of weird conspiracy theories and protests, and everyone thinks they're going to die, and God's still good. There's no reason to fear. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid for this guy or my 2-year-old, even though I work with COVID patients on a COVID unit. I don't have any fear. God protects us. He's with us. God is still good. And when you live and serve for Him, there's nothing to worry about. Amen.